Okay guys, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Now, fasten your seatbelts. Here we go. All right, I'm back. And you're back, so let's start just picking right up from where I left off in the last video with regards to the Q post. So we are going to get right into it. Now, as I mentioned in the last video, I do have people to thank, but I'm going to wait until I do a regular video to thank those people. But always know that I do appreciate anything you know, in regards to support of this channel, because we are demonetized, so it makes a big difference, and I do appreciate it very, very much. And anyway, I will thank those people in my next video. I have another one prepared tonight, but I really doubt it. After I finish this, I think I will be done for the night, and my voice is starting to feel stressed, so I don't want to push it anymore than doing this one video to catch us up. So I will save that other stuff that I have researched for tomorrow. All right, so we're just picking right up where we left off. These are the Q posts for today, April 15th, Wednesday. It is now 11:34 p.m. Eastern time. Hopefully, well, I probably won't get this uploaded before it turns midnight, but I sure can try. All right. So we are on drop 3964. Dr. Oz explains significance of South Dakota's hydroxychloroquine drug trial. And Q says, be informed, Boris, think for yourself, trust yourself, Q. So let's go take a look at what it is that Q is wanting us to look at. And of course, he's talking about Boris, you know, in the UK there, where he actually did take hydroxychloroquine and recovered. So let's take a look here.
Meanwhile, let's bring in Dr. Mehmet Oz, because if you want to really stand up this country again, we got to get a therapy, and we got to get a vaccine. And we thought of you right away, Dr. Oz, when it seems South Dakota is going hydroxychloroquine crazy and doing their own trial. New York's using it, but they don't seem to be writing down their results. What is South Dakota doing?
Well, I applaud Governor Noem. They teamed up with Sanford Healthcare, which is the largest rural healthcare provider in the country. I've known them for quite a while. I actually was in contact with them this morning just to make sure I got the details right. And here's what the plan is. They're going to do two things. A registry, which would allow them to collect data on all the patients that get treated who are COVID-19 positive. So you come in, you're infected, if you're high risk, or there's another reason that they think you should be treated, they're going to give you the medication. They have up to 100,000 people worth of doses, so they'll treat a lot of folks if they need to and collect data. Equally importantly, they're going to do a prophylactic randomized trial, which means they're going to very precisely take people who are healthcare workers who are clearly exposed, or high-risk people who are exposed, like over the age of 80, over the age of 45 with a comorbidity, or younger than 45 but two comorbidities. Please remember those criteria, because they're important. That's how South Dakota is defining high risk. That might be how other states define high risk when it comes to who gets to go out and go back to work and who maybe should wait to home for a little while, because it's those high-risk groups that become the majority of the hospitalized patients, the majority of the ICU patients, and ultimately the majority of people who die. So I applaud these guys for doing it. By the way, on my show today, I have the University of Minnesota researchers doing something very similar. A couple thousand patients looking at both prevention in one arm, but treatment in the other arm. And as you know, I spoke to Didier Raoult, the famous French infectious disease specialist. I'm almost going to air that interview today. He's very clear on a couple things. First, he said hydroxychloroquine in his hands at his institute in Marseille is safe. He met with the French President Macron for 3.5 hours last week to summarize his data, and he'll go through it in details, but fundamentally he says that 96% of people, there is no virus left at the end of 10 days, and the 4% where there's measured virus in the nose, when they try to actually culture the virus, it doesn't grow. So it means that his patients are becoming less infectious. Now, it's not randomized, but those are just basic observations about his patients. If we could emulate that elsewhere, it would, I think, help us deal with this virus more effectively if it pans out in the South Dakota trial, in the University of Minnesota trial.
So there you go. Now, I happen to be very pro hydroxychloroquine because I've myself have taken it. I did missionary work in Central America. I was in the jungle area, the rainforest, the Mosquito Coast area, which is has a lot of malaria. So we had to take it prophylactically, meaning I took it before I even went there. I had to be on it. I can't remember how long before I went, and the whole entire time that I was there. Now I never got malaria, but of course that's no proof, because I don't know. Maybe I would have if I hadn't been on it, or maybe I still wouldn't have gotten it. But I didn't find that it had any side effects that I noticed, and very, very safe. So anyway, I don't understand. I mean, if there's a chance that it's going to make people better, it's like 10 cents a pill. Give it. I mean, maybe there's a shortage of it. I don't know. There probably is, if the entire world is trying to if they're trying to put people on it all the world over, there may be a shortage of it, but I really don't understand, aside from there being a shortage, why they wouldn't prescribe it. Well, I do, but it's not for any good reasons. So anyway, let's go back here and continue on. And Q is simply saying, be informed, think for yourself, trust yourself. So that is what he's asking us to do. And now we are on drop 3965, and it is entitled Always Under Attack. Now, this is by an Anon, and this was posted to the Chans today, 15th of April, and it says, I am same as you, Q, having to go Tor. Are we under attack? And Q responds and says, always, Q. Now, many of you are going to know what Tor is, and some of you may not. So for those of you that may not be really computer literate, I've got a definition here. Tor is a free and open source software for enabling anonymous communication. The name is derived from an acronym for the original software project named the Onion Router. Tor directs internet traffic through a free worldwide volunteer overlay network consisting of more than 7,000 relays to conceal a user's location and usage from anyone conducting network surveillance or traffic analysis. Using Tor makes it more difficult to trace internet activity to the user. This includes visits to websites, online posts, instant messages, and other communication forms. Tor's intended use is to protect the personal privacy of its users, as well as their freedom and ability to conduct confidential communication by keeping their internet activities unmonitored. Now, I do have the Tor browser on mine. I was going to show it to you, but I don't think there's any need to do that. You can find it. Just look up Tor, and you'll be able to download it. But the browser, you'll be able to download it, but it works a little bit differently than a normal browser. Anyway, and this by Lisa Mae Crowley. She says Tor is free and open source software for enabling anonymous communication. Using Tor makes it more difficult to trace internet activity to the user. And we already looked at that, so there's no sense in reading any of that further. And this my praying medic, he says, since 8kun is under attack, always, many Anons are posting using the Tor network. So that is what that is about, what that post is about. Now, we are on to drop 3966. Important to understand, this must be done by the book. And Q is quoting an Anon who also posted this the 15th of April today. You have to sense the tension building. Q, it's becoming a tinderbox. Well, it is, and you can sense the tension building. You can very definitely sense this in the atmosphere, that there's a lot of stuff going on. A lot of people have had this sick feeling in their stomach that things aren't right. And I think that that kind of goes across the board, because everybody that I talk to, even those that don't even believe in any of this at all, if you ask them, how do you feel? Do you feel, like everything's all right and on track, and almost everyone will say, no, I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop. Everybody kind of feels that way. Anyway, Q says, imagine if we weren't here. I don't want to imagine that, because that is our only sense of information at this point. We certainly are not getting it from the mainstream news, and Q and POTUS has had to go and communicate via back channels, and he's been forced to. So imagine if we weren't here. While difficult, it is important to understand this must be done by the book. Average people must be able to digest and accept factually events. So not just understand the narrative, but to understand what is really happening factually. FISA is the lead-in. Stage 1, Act 1, bad actors had to be removed. They had to be. You couldn't have done this with the bad actors still in their positions. So the bad actors had to be removed, and good actors had to be installed. And that has taken time. It's taken time to clean out everything that needed to be cleaned out, which was just about everything. So, and it said sleepers had to be uncovered. We are ready. He's saying we are ready, which added to the countdown he did. In the last video, we covered the countdown, that the punishment was coming, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So, yeah. So now he's saying we're ready. We're ready. Think bar public. Q. And let's go on from there. I think that is pretty self-explanatory. And here we are on drop 3967. 3967. These people are pure evil. When he first started posting that, way back when Q first started, I remember thinking, is he being a little bit melodramatic there? No. If anything, he's being under-sensational, because we know now how evil these people really, truly are. And I think he had to allow people room to hang themselves, so to speak, because he wanted to show us. And telling us would not have had the same effect as it's had with us observing the Democrats in particular over this period. And just, I myself, I think I've spent most of the last 2 years or so with my mouth hanging open, because it's just hard to believe. It's hard to believe. And if somebody had told me, I'm not sure I would have appreciated the full effect, All right, now, so I love this flag. It's an American flag, and it has a cross shining through. The sun is shining through the flag and creating a cross shape. And he said, just like Q and Q plus put on that armor of God. Just like Q and Q plus put on that armor of God. Patriots, keep praying. In the end, God wins. Where we go one, we go all. And beneath that, now this was an Anon that posted this, I do believe. Yes, this was an Anon that posted this, and he said, just like Q and Q plus, put on that armor of God. Patriots, keep praying. In the end, God wins, and Q has responded to that and said, these people are pure evil. This is not about politics. You are ready, Q. Now, let's go over here, and Lisa Mae Crowley has this to say. We were told on the second day of this operation on the 29th of October, 2017, that many in our government worship Satan, and this isn't about Republicans versus Democrats. Many Republicans resigned, didn't run in 2018. This was not by choice. Here is a list of all resignations prior to the 2018 midterms. I don't have that list, actually. I probably should have grabbed it. And this by Dio Presso Liber says, we are ready, Q. Armored up, prayed up, bring them to justice, sir. They are pure evil. And I don't think any of us would argue with that at all. And here we are on the next drop, and it is 3968, 3968. Neither Paul Ryan nor Jeff Flake stepped down voluntarily. Now, I think we all know that. And this is a post by an anon that Q is highlighting here. I suspect there are still a ton of sleepers regarding Paul Ryan et al. And underneath, Q says, do you think it was Paul Ryan's choice to step down? Rising star in the Republican Party, Speaker of the House, age, he's very young. Do you think it was Senator Flake's choice to step down? Well, Q is obviously telling us it was not. And then he puts ... He puts three dots, and then 4 dots. Not sure what that means. 3, 3, 4. Not sure. But if any of you have any idea what you think those dots could mean, because we know that in a Q post, everything has meaning. Everything. Now, Lisa Mae Crowley says Paul Ryan's chief of staff, John Burks, was one of the recipients of Steele's dossier before it was published. Ryan's team denied this. Flake was Arizona roadblock regarding border wall. Will he be implicated in drug/weapon/sex/child trafficking? Enabled China-Russian intel pass-through? Don't know, but we will. Before it's all said and done, we will know. All right, and this also from Dio Presso Liber, Jeff Flake and Paul Ryan retired early from Congress. They were forced out because they are traitors. They are on the sidelines attacking real Donald Trump and doing everything they can to prevent his re-election. Several Republicans who were forced out, and there are several Republicans who are forced out. And let's come down to the next drop, and it is drop 3969. 3969, again from today. We are far beyond the need for proofs. Remember, Q operation and Durham started the same day. They are one and the same. Not saying that Durham is Q, but they started at the exact same time. Now, Q has placed this in from an anon, and beneath that it says Q the Durham call for witness. Now I have enlarged this because it's very hard to see there. It's from the Gateway Pundit, and it says huge via John Solomon. Durham has subpoenaed and called in witnesses before a grand jury. It will be a journey. It will be a grand journey, but we're talking about a grand jury here. And this was published April 11th, 2020 at 9:10 p.m. U.S. Attorney General Bill Barr appointed U.S. Attorney from Connecticut, John Durham, last May to investigate the origins of Spygate. Award-winning investigative reporter John Solomon told Sean Hannity on Friday's podcast that he knows of a few witnesses who have appeared before a D.C. grand jury. John Solomon told Hannity he believes that Durham's charges will start with Kevin Kleinsmith, the lawyer who fraudulently changed a document to deceive the FISA court. And down beneath here, Q is responding to this anon and saying, we are far beyond the need for proofs. You have more than you know. Durham start. Q operation start. Same day they started. 5-5, and 5-5 of course means loud and clear. And yes, it is Q. Now this is something that Q posted on January 23rd that I've stuck in here. D-class chain of command, POTUS, Barr, Durham, foreign classified intel provided, 5I and non-5I as needed. Does Durham want to hold, freeze, public D-class due to criminal nature of the probes? Think grand jury material. When did the investigation begin? When did the investigation really begin? Nothing can stop what is coming. Nothing. Slow drip will turn into a flood. Q. So we are at that point right now. Q has made several little hints throughout this that the time for all this to come to a head and for Durham to start calling witnesses before a grand jury and all that is imminent. So that's good news. That's what we want to hear. It's what I want to hear. And this from Lisa May Crowley: we are far beyond the need for proofs, indicates all the right and wrong people know this is 100% legitimate operation. Still nice to have side-by-sides for newcomers. Side-by-side posts versus actual news show future proves past. Sessions appointed Durham on the 28th of October 2017. First Q drop was on the same day. Another interesting coincidence is Sessions appointed Durham's son to MS-13 Subcommittee of Transnational Organized Crime Task Force in October 2018. It was over before it started. Sweet. And moving on to the next one, we have drop 3970, and this Anon has asked, when will our voice and vote matter again, Q? And, you know, I'm sure that this person is asking in all honesty, and because I know we're all thinking that. When is our voice and our vote going to matter again? Because we know that they have stolen elections. We know that they have cheated. And we know that we are being constantly censored. It's very disconcerting to those of us that are out there trying to disseminate this information when we are constantly, we've got shills to deal with, we've got, you know, all the censor police to deal with. It's just not any fun. It would be very nice to be able to have our freedom of speech back, because we don't have it right now. I don't care what anybody says. It's not there. It's sure, you're free to speak if you're Democrat, but you're not free to speak if you're Republican or Christian or conservative. So now beneath that, Q responds and says, it does now, Patriot. Your voice matters now more than ever. Think 2016. Think 2020. Think of the world awakening. Q. Now, Lisa May Crowley says, will we soon see DHS memo regarding voter fraud investigation? Believe POTUS will win by biggest landslide in our history, even without voter ID, once mass population awakening occurs with first arrest. White hats made assurances to POTUS regarding preventing 2016 election tampering. 2020 has been safe. And Q has told us that repeatedly, that the elections are now safe. Now, how he can assure that, I don't know, but that is what he says. And at this point, you know, we have no reason to disbelieve him, even though our own eyes and our own whatever tells us that it's not safe. They must know something that we don't, or they must know that something is going to take place before that election that will make them safe. Now, this by De Oppresso Liber: your voice does matter, patriots. Q tells us to think of how things were in 2016 when POTUS came into office versus how things are now. Always keep the big picture in mind. Good advice. Now, this is the very last post for today, unless Q has been posting. Well, I'm sorry, I'm like playing with things on my little desk here, and it's probably loud. You're probably getting the feedback in the microphone. I'm sorry, I'm fidgety. Anyway, this is the last one, and it is drop 3971. 3971, frogs to destroy them. And it says ... no, it says ... and frogs to destroy them. Q. Now, it kind of reminds me of the biblical story, because when Moses went to Pharaoh, and of course the Hebrew people sojourned in Egypt, and I won't get into the whole backstory of how they got there and why they were there, but they were in Egypt, the Hebrews, and they were slaves and treated quite despicably. And Moses, the Lord called Moses, he had the burning bush experience in the wilderness, and the Lord called Moses to go to Pharaoh and ask Pharaoh to let his people go. And every time that Pharaoh refused, there would be plagues that would be sent on the land. One of those plagues was frogs. And it's interesting how frogs Pepe is being used to destroy the enemy, just as frogs were used in ancient Egypt by Moses. Moses, it was the Lord that brought this plague, but it was Moses that demanded Pharaoh let the Hebrew people, the Jewish people, the Hebrew people at that time, go. They wanted to go, and they wanted to be able to go into the wilderness, eventually get to the promised land, and be able to worship their God. So that is what this reminds me of. Now, I would imagine that Q is talking about Pepe, but it's just interesting that there's a tie-in to a biblical story. So that is it for tonight. Actually, I did it with 2 minutes to spare until midnight. So of course, by the time this uploads, it won't be that time. But it takes forever for these things to upload and process. It's getting very, very frustrating. But you know what? I'm not willing to give it up, and I'm not going to, because, well, I would miss you guys. I really, really would. I've gotten attached to some of you guys. The ones that are posting all the time, I really feel like I've gotten to know you, and I always get such a chuckle out of some of your comments and so forth. So anyway, thank you guys so much. I will be back, Lord willing, and the creek don't rise, tomorrow. I've already got a show that I could do right now, but I don't think my voice would hold up to it, and I would rather save my voice so that I can come tomorrow and bring you whatever news there is. Now, in the press conference today, Donald Trump said that tomorrow is going to be a big day. What he meant, I don't know, but I can assume that tomorrow is going to be a big news day. I would assume that that's what he was talking about. So we have that to look forward to. So I want to save my voice for that. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for listening. I appreciate it. And I look forward to seeing you in the next video. So you guys stay safe, stay well, and stay blessed. And please, please keep seeking truth. Deception bites. Good night, guys.